The space between stimulus and response. There is a small space that most people never notice. A space between what happens and how we respond. Someone speaks harshly. A message appears on your screen. An unexpected problem arises. In that instant, something is triggered inside you. And almost immediately you react. But what if, just for a moment, you didn't? The Buddha's teaching points us to this very space. Not as an abstract idea, but as something deeply practical. Because in that space, your entire life can change. Most of the time, we live as if there is no space at all. Stimulus reaction. Instant. Automatic. Habitual. Anger comes, we speak. Fear comes, we withdraw. Desire comes, we chase. It feels natural. It feels justified. But it is not freedom. It is conditioning. Equanimity begins when we rediscover that space. That brief moment where awareness appears before reaction takes over. It may only last a second, but within that second, everything is possible. Instead of reacting, you can observe. Instead of escalating, you can pause. Instead of being pulled, you can remain still. This is not weakness. This is strength. In that space, you begin to see clearly. You see that anger is just a wave. That fear is just a sensation. That desire is just a movement in the mind. They arise. They stay for a while. And they pass. But when you react immediately, you become the wave. When you pause, you become the one who sees the wave. And that changes everything. This is where equanimity lives. Not far away, not in some ideal state, but right here in the gap between experience and response. In modern terms, this is also the foundation of emotional intelligence and critical thinking, because without that pause, you cannot reflect. Without reflection, you cannot choose wisely. Without choice, you are simply reacting again and again. So how do we begin? Very simply. The next time something triggers you, don't rush. Just notice. Something is happening. Feel the body. Feel the breath. Let one moment pass without doing anything. That is enough. Even 1 second of awareness begins to weaken old patterns. Even one pause begins to build a new way of being. At first, you may forget. You may react as usual. That's all right. The practice is not to be perfect. The practice is to remember. Again and again and again. Over time, that small space will grow. And in that space, you will find something remarkable: freedom. Not freedom from life, but freedom within it. A freedom that allows you to respond with clarity, with wisdom, and with peace. So today, don't try to control the world. Just find the space. And rest there even for a moment. 2. Title: Not everything needs a reaction. There is a quiet truth that can transform your life. Not everything needs a reaction. We have been conditioned to respond to almost everything. A message arrives, we reply. An opinion appears, we argue. A discomfort arises, we fix it. A silence appears, we fill it. Constant movement. Constant engagement, constant noise, but very little clarity. Equanimity invites the different way. It asks, what if you didn't react to everything that arises? Not out of avoidance, but out of understanding. Look closely at your experience. Thoughts appear one after another. Some are useful, many are not. Emotions arise, some strong, some subtle. External events unfold, often beyond your control. If you treat each of these as something that demands a response, your life becomes exhausting. But here is the shift. Just because something arises does not mean it is important. Just because something is loud does not mean it is true. Just because something is felt does not mean it must be acted upon. Equanimity is the wisdom to recognize this. It is the ability to say, internally, this can pass without my involvement. In practice, this changes everything. A critical comment appears. You notice the impulse to defend. But instead of reacting, you let the moment breathe. You may still respond later, but not from impulse. A wave of anxiety arises, your body tightens, your mind races. Instead of trying to eliminate it immediately, you allow it to be there. You observe. And in that observation, something softens. A desire pulls you strongly to check, to consume, to distract. Instead of obeying it instantly, you pause. You watch the urge rise, peak, and fade. This is not suppression. You are not pushing experience away. You are simply not automatically obeying it. And in that shift, you reclaim energy. Because reacting constantly is draining. Every reaction consumes attention. Every impulse followed reinforces restlessness. But when you stop reacting to everything, your mind begins to settle. Clarity emerges. You start to see patterns. This thought always leads to stress. This reaction never helps. This urge passes on its own. This is insight. Not theoretical, but directly observed. In a world designed to capture your attention, this is a radical act. To not react. To not engage. To not be pulled. Not because you don't care, but because you see clearly. Equanimity gives you a new kind of power. The power to choose what truly deserves your response. And what does not. So today, practice lightly. When something arises, ask yourself, is this necessary to react to? And if the answer is no, let it pass. You may be surprised how much of life does not require your involvement. And in that discovery, you will find space. A quieter mind. A steadier presence. A deeper peace. Not everything needs a reaction. And in realizing this, you begin to live with wisdom.